At it again, and yeah, I'm a bit disappointed. Like, share, comment, and hit that subscribe button if you are new, and let's dive in.
First, I want to thank my House Republican colleagues for just designating me as the Speaker. Obviously, we still have work to do. We're going to have to go upstairs on the House floor and resolve this and then get the House opened again. We have a lot of work to do. Not just in the House for the people of this country, but we see how dangerous of a world it is and how things can change so quickly. We need to make sure we're sending a message to people all throughout the world that the House is open and doing the people's business, making sure that we're unequivocally standing in our first resolution that we pass under Speaker Steve Scalise will be to make it clear that we stand with Israel. The McCall-Meeks resolution will be our first order of business. But obviously there's a lot more work to do. The conversations we've been having with my colleagues over the last few days leading up to this show that there's a resolve, that we need to get back to work. There's a lot of business to take care of. Families are struggling across this country. You know, we passed a lot of legislation to help families get back on track, to address our border crisis, to get our economy moving again, to address the spending in Washington that's driving inflation, high energy costs. All of those bills that we've passed and that we're going to continue to pass that are sitting over in the Senate need to be taken up. We've passed over 70%.
By the way, I'm going to let this clip play out so you guys can hear what Steve Scalise has to say because, like he said, the GOP not officially nominated him to be the next Speaker of the House, but I've got a lot more clips coming behind this, so stick around. This video is already about halfway through, so I'm gonna let Steve take it away.
Of the bills to fund the government, dealing with appropriations and setting the priorities of this nation's spending, and the Senate has taken up zero. The Senate has to start doing their work. And by the way, in that legislation, including the State and Foreign Ops Bill, the Defense Appropriations Bill, includes funding for Israel, things like Iron Dome, precision-guided missiles, things that could be used today to help them in this war. So there is a lot to do. I'm also going to be calling on President Biden to sit down and talk about the crisis at the border. As we have an open southern border, and we've seen millions come in the last few years, including people on the terrorist watch list from all over the world. If he doesn't know now, after what happened, we cannot have an unsecure border. We've got to secure America's border. We've passed legislation to do that. It's time we sit down and have a conversation about how to secure America's border. And it's not a Republican or a Democrat issue. There are Democrat mayors all over the country who've been calling on the president to do this too. That's a conversation we need to have today. There's a lot of busy work to do, a lot of important work to do on behalf of people who are struggling, not only here in America, but who are concerned all around the world. And we're going to provide that vision. We have a lot of work to do. Obviously, I've got some more conversations.
So yeah, you just heard it there. Now, there were some things that I agreed with, and there were some things that I disagreed with in terms of what Steve Scalise had to say there. Now, Steve Scalise actually won the vote barely. As you can see there, it was 113 to 99. Jim Jordan had the 99 and Steve Scalise had the 113. And this is Lauren Boebert, who's a part of the, excuse me, the Freedom Caucus, stating that she'll be voting for Jim Jordan on the House floor. We had a chance to unify the party behind closed doors, but the swamp and K Street lobbyists prevented that. The American people deserve a real change in leadership, not a continuation of the status quo. Now, it's interesting that she says a continuation of the status quo because, I don't really see Steve Scalise as a whole lot different than Kevin McCarthy. But I do want to give a shout out to some of the individuals that voted against Steve Scalise with this tweet here by Miss Bridget. Lauren Boebert, who obviously we just saw in the tweet, MTG, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Max Miller, Thomas Massey, Anna Paulina Luna, Troy Nels, Michael Cloud, and Chip Roy, which is shocking because I don't know if you guys remember, but we checked out a clip of Chip Roy when this whole thing initially went down. And yeah, to say the least, I definitely heavily disagreed with Chip Roy. But there's also a few more people as well. Nancy Mace, Bob Good, and Barry Moore also will be added to that list. And Nancy Mace was one of the individuals that actually voted to get rid of Kevin McCarthy to set this whole thing in motion. But back to Mr. Steve Scalise. I've got another clip that I want to play for you guys. And, you know, obviously there's certain things that I can and can't say, which you guys already know. But I'm just going to let Steve Scalise take it away. And you tell me if you like Steve Scalise to be the Speaker of the House, because I would prefer Jim Jordan. That's my personal preference. But here, listen to Steve.
President Zelensky just gave an incredibly powerful address to Congress. And I think people got to see once again what we've been seeing for weeks, and that is just why President Zelensky is inspiring the people of Ukraine and people all around the world who are rallying behind these strong, incredibly tough people during a brutally difficult invasion by Putin. When President Zelensky showed that video, you really got to see firsthand the sheer brutality of what Putin is doing inside Ukraine. It was very difficult to watch. It was heartbreaking, but it shows you that there's nothing less than genocide going on in Ukraine by Putin and his army. And so as Zelensky made a plea to the United States, to President Biden, he's continued to reiterate that the people of Ukraine just want more tools to be able to defend their country, especially right now to be able to control the sky. And that's why getting these MiGs in immediately is so critical. The longer President Biden waits trying to figure out excuses to not offend Putin, it's costing lives in Ukraine. He's got to make that happen. It's a plea Zelensky continued to make, as well as a plea for other things that I think the American people want to do to give them the tools that they need to defend their country. So as we look where we are, this is another opportunity for America to step up too and take away Putin's leverage on energy. There's no reason that Putin should be pocketing hundreds of millions of dollars a day by selling oil to America and the United States when we could cut that off right now by opening up our reserves, opening up areas that have been closed by President Biden to leasing so that Putin does not have that leverage over America or Europe to finance this brutal invasion. So we're going to continue to stand with the people of Ukraine and pray for them that they're able to have the tools to defend themselves.
So yeah, there you have that. That was another interview from Mr. Steve Scalise. So you guys let me know who you prefer, Steve Scalise or Jim Jordan. Let me know in the comment section. I'll also probably make a poll on Twitter once again, just to see what everyone's feeling. So make sure you guys are following me over on Twitter. All right, link is in the description. Or you can just type in The Real Doc Rich. All right, The Real Doc Rich. Okay. Also, Nancy Mace had something interesting to say. So I've got a few clips from a few different individuals that I want to play for you guys. So check these out as well.
I had been threatened over and over again in the days leading up to this vote over fundraising drying up for me because I was taking a vote of conscience, taking a principled stand at being responsible for spending, and I'm going to continue doing it.
Who was threatening you, Congressman?
Members of Congress and leadership, different groups outside here on the Hill that think they can...
What were they saying?
Oh, that they were saying that fundraising would dry up, that I would not be helped, that I would be on my own. I'm still receiving those threats today. So if people want to help, they can go to nancymace.org. Okay. I had been threatened.
Wow. Seems the establishment is pretty angry. No more funding, which also, you know, that kind of leads to a different point as well. But check out this interview from Nancy Mace as well.
I'm wearing the scarlet letter after the week that I just had last week, being a woman up here and being demonized for my vote and for my voice. I'm here to let the rest of the world know and the country know I'm on the side of the people. I'm not on the side of the establishment.
Yes,
and I'm going to do the right thing every single time, no matter the consequences, because I don't answer to anybody in D.C. I don't answer to anyone in Washington. I only answer to the people.
Sounds like a lady that I'd vote for. Right? Sounds like a lady that I could, get behind and support. But here's one from MTG as well. let's listen to what she has to say. And, frankly, I kind of agree with her take it away.
Well, I think Jim Jordan is the fighter we need to be Speaker of the House right now. Our country's in crisis with our border situation becoming such a grave national security crisis. Jim Jordan, I think, is the guy for the job. There's a lot of concerns right now. Some intel reports saying that we could even have a terrorist attack here at home. And we've already witnessed one in Israel right now, and that's certainly a situation that we're all praying for as we stand with Israel. But we're also, here we are still engaged in Ukraine. This seems to be another foreign war that we're funding their government with no end in sight. While the American people are suffering under crippling inflation and possibly a looming recession with our economy. The Speaker of the House is the hardest job in Congress, one of the hardest jobs in the country, and it's extremely demanding. And it's very personal to me, and I say this with the most compassion. My father died in April of 2021 with cancer, and I like Steve Scalise, and I like him so much that I want to see him be able to put all of his time and energy into defeating cancer. And I say that with just hoping the best for him.
Yeah, Steve Scalise was diagnosed with cancer. And like she said, I say this with the utmost respect, right? Like she said, it's a demanding job. And if something were to happen, God forbid, and I'm not, calling for anything to happen to the president or the vice president, right? As much as I may disagree with them, in terms of politics, I'm not calling for anything bad to happen to them. I want to make that clear before anybody tries to twist my words. Not calling for anything bad to happen to them. But if anything was to, then the Speaker of the House would then be in their place. And if you have a Speaker of the House who's already battling something, it's already stressful. Now you've just added, oh, wait, I have an entire country to run now. I just don't think that's the best position for an individual, in that type of situation. His focus should be to get healthy, get healthy, take care of yourself, and, get back to work after that. But that's just my humble opinion on it. You guys can let me know. But we also have a shocking individual here that some of you may have noticed was missing from that list from earlier. Can you think of him?
Why do you think that there were 7 members who didn't attend the delegation meeting today, though? The Florida delegation meeting.
You'd have to ask them. I was there.
What was some of the main talking points that really impressed you within that meeting?
I thought that both of the candidates understood the need to unite the conference, to bring the conference in, into a more effective fighting force, to conduct oversight with greater rigor, and really to put the pressure on Senate Democrats to take up our bills to get the government funded.
What goes through your head tonight when you're kind of deciding who to vote for, that what happened with McCarthy doesn't happen again? How are you going to make that decision?
Well, I'm very confident that both of these men would represent an upgrade over Speaker McCarthy, so I'm not concerned that the things that really imperiled his speakership would be baggage carried by either a Speaker Jordan or a Speaker Scalise.
Do you think that either of those should be Congressman Jordan's CR plan that he outlined?
I don't want to govern by CR for one more day. And I know that Jim Jordan has been a tireless fighter for less spending from the federal government. I think that we've got to put pressure on the Senate to take up our bills. Mr. Jordan believes that one strategy to force the Senate to take up our bills would be a continuing resolution with automatic cuts. So I want to hear him out on that, but as I've stated many times, my preference is to govern without CRs at any point.
Are you willing to move on the motion to vacate?
Go ahead, sir.
So you talked a lot about trust in the last 10 minutes or so. Do you think that either Scalise or Jordan, either of them should be subject to the one-person motion to vacate in the rules, in a future rules package?
Well, I think that the motion to vacate is negotiable, but it's negotiable for things that are going to make representatives in Washington more responsive. My colleague Ro Khanna laid out a series of reforms that would, I think, limit the influence of lobbyists and special interests here. And so I would be willing to limit my own influence, my own ability to bring a motion to vacate by myself if it meant at the same time we could reduce the influence of some of the most corrupt enterprises that I think have strangled our nation.
One day later.
Well. Seems we have an update. I recorded the beginning part of this video that you just watched yesterday, and I'm uploading it today because I started feeling sick, so I took a nap and just the day got away from me yesterday. I'm sure my voice probably sounds a little bit funny. I'm still a little stuffy, not feeling the greatest, but yeah, I wanted to bring this video to you guys, but also wanted to do it correctly and let you guys know that there has been an update. Yes, with Mr. Steve Scalise. Obviously, you see here Steve Scalise on the screen. We're going to be checking out this video here shortly. Yeah, shout out to everybody that stuck around to this point. And we'll know everyone that didn't stick around because they'll be commenting down below about this Steve Scalise situation before watching this part. Check it out.
I just shared with my colleagues that I'm withdrawing my name as a candidate for the Speaker designee. If you look at over the last few weeks, if you look at where our conference is, there's still work to be done. Our conference still has to come together and is not there. There are still some people that have their own agendas. And I was very clear, we have to have everybody put their agendas on the side and focus on what this country needs. This country is counting on us to come back together. But I never came here for titles. And it's much bigger than me, and it's much bigger than anybody else. And nobody's going to use me as an excuse to hold back our ability to get the House opened again. We still need to get a speaker. And I'm going to continue to push as hard as we can to make that happen as quickly as it has to happen.
Now, people can... Excuse me. Like I said, forgive me. Feeling a little under the weather. That's why I didn't upload yesterday. And hey, if I don't upload tomorrow, you'll know why. But excuse me if I say I don't really mind that they keep it all closed. Because as far as I'm concerned, the only thing that I see them rushing to do is send more money to other places except for people here in America. Maybe I'm wrong. Y'all let me know in the comment section. But especially somebody like Steve Scalise. Not a fan. I'm not a fan. So personally, I'm happy that he dropped out. Now, I wish him the best in terms of his health. You know, I don't want people to get, you know, that confused and say I'm wishing the worst for him in terms of his health. I wish the best for him and his health. Okay. But in terms of him being the Speaker of the House, absolutely not. I'm not a fan. Not a fan at all. You guys can let me know if you're a fan. I definitely prefer Jim Jordan. Obviously, the ultimate would be Uncle Trump. That would be absolutely amazing, in my humble opinion, to have Uncle Trump as Speaker of the House. Man, would fireworks fly? Oh, my goodness. Fireworks would be flying. That would be incredible. But, you know, there was speculation that, you know, and someone came out, I believe it was Nancy Mace, came out and accused him of basically being the R word. I'm not going to say it because YouTube doesn't like it. My videos usually get limited ads if I say the R word. The R word that, you know, a lot of leftists like to call people on the right all the time. You know, when white people don't like black people or black people don't like white people or whatever. Yeah, that word. So, yeah, he was accused of being that. And Marjorie Taylor Greene basically said that she disagreed with coming out and saying something like that. And honestly, I kind of side with Marjorie Taylor Greene. And here's why. You keep that kind of stuff in-house. I'm not saying that you shouldn't call it out if it is true. Right? If it is true, if somebody's BSing, you need to call them out on their BS. But you keep it in-house. In-house. You can't play by the same rules that the Democrats play by. You'll lose every single time. People can say, oh, yeah, it's the right thing to do. Yeah, it's the right thing to do. But you can do it behind closed doors. And you still get the job done. So as much as I like Nancy Mace, I definitely have to disagree with that. Even if it is true. Which I don't know if it is. You guys can let me know in the comment section. But even if it is true, you do that behind closed doors. And you let them know that's not acceptable. That's not what we do around here. Absolutely not. And because that is you, you cannot be the Speaker of the House. Or previously you can't be Speaker of the House. Even though we know Joe Biden, we know his history, of course. But still, you can't play by the same rules that Democrats play by and say stuff like that out loud into the public on mainstream media, because we don't play by the same rules. We all know that. We see it every single day. I believe you'd be foolish to say anything different, right? To say that we do play by the same rules. Excuse me. So, yeah, I mean, while I do agree with Nancy Mace calling him out, I just think it was done in the wrong way. Now, ultimately, I think we will get what we want, and that is either Jim Jordan or Uncle Trump as Speaker of the House, and I hope that is the case. I hope nobody else tries to step up and take, Jim Jordan or Uncle Trump's place. Jim Jordan had already received 99 votes, and I believe the number that was going to vote against Steve Scalise was climbing, which I believe is part of the reason why he decided to drop out of the race. Maybe finally, we the people are winning against the Republican establishment, right? Because if you guys remember, everyone was saying we don't want Kevin McCarthy, and yet they still pushed him out in front of us. Everyone was saying, or not everyone, but a good number of people were saying we don't want Steve Scalise, and yet he kind of got pushed out in front of us. So hopefully we'll get at least in part what we want, which Jim Jordan, I'll take it. I think that's still a W. Preferably, I want Uncle Trump, but y'all let me know what you think in the comment section below. Thank you for watching this video today, and sorry about my sniffling and probably terribly sounding voice. I will be spending the rest of the day trying to get better. Y'all stay safe out there. Peace and love, family. I'm out.